And welcome to the Nobody Asked Me Guys show. Guys, listen, you are in for a treat. Now, I know you guys were here before and you saw Dr. Deborah Fuqua and you know she brought the pain. But listen, tonight, not that she needs any help, but we've added a couple of more ladies. Just, it's Mother's Day and we want to give all of the mothers a verbal bouquet of roses. And we want to say to those whose mom may have already gone to sleep, we want to give you our condolences and prayers. We know that no words will ever suffice or soothe that. So out of respect, we just want to give you our condolences and prayers for those of you whose brother has gone to sleep. Thank God. Well, my mom is still with me, so I can't say I know how you feel, but I can say that I do understand. So anyway, as we move forward, again, we just want to welcome all of you to the Nobody Asked Me Guys show. And Dr. Fuqua, you guys have been here with her before. We also have Clementine Cooper, who's an author, and she has a book that has a very interesting title. Some of you may just find it a little interesting. Then, that coming on a little later with us will be Mrs. Veronica Daly. Now, Mrs. Daly was one of our parents that took the survey that we had put out, and we had over 500 parents that returned their surveys for our new book called Mothers in Their SMEN, an introspective look at mothers rearing their sons. But that's not why we're here. We are here to talk to Dr. Fuqua, to talk to Clem, and to talk to Ms. Daly about mom and mom practices. Now, normally everybody likes to give you a whole line of stuff about their guests, but I like to hear my guests talk, and I like to hear them share about their experiences and things they're doing now. And we'll start with Dr. Fuqua. Dr. Fuqua, good evening.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. Good.
It's a pleasure to have you, Dr. Fuqua. Dr. Fuqua, will you share with our audience a little bit about you? I mean, I know that about Secure Your Cape and Time to Teach. I know about that, but our audience doesn't. Will you share with them, please?
Okay, well, Secure Your Cape, that's a women's motivational leadership book. And I wrote this book, it was inspired by just life. So as women, I mean, we work 40 plus hours a week. We come home, we cook, we clean, we take care of the family, we do everything, right? So I'm like, I'm not your superwoman. And that remember that song by Karen White, I'm Not Your Superwoman?
Yes.
Well, to hint to my family years ago, I used to turn that song up real loud, and I'm like, I'm not no superwoman around here. But actually, women, we have superpowers. Yes, we do. And so this book is about inspiring and motivate women to accomplish their goals that they have in life.
All right, great.
It's out there on Amazon. Check it out.
Okay, and we will certainly talk about that some more. If you will share, if you will, what are your endeavors at this time, in addition to your book?
In addition to my book, I'm working on releasing my next book. It's Indispensable Leadership. So it's based on a model that I created in 2014. So hopefully that book will be out really soon, really soon. That's what I'm working on. I'm working on a diversity team with University of Phoenix. So I do co-author books with the university, textbooks. And so this would be the second one that I'm working on. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, fantastic. And for our audience, you just may want to know, and I'm sure you do, Dr. Fuqua holds an undergraduate degree in management studies, a graduate degree in human resource development, and her doctor of management in organizational leadership. And we're going to be talking about all of these things as we talk about our moms. Now, Ms. Clem Cooper, if you'll share with us a little bit, we know that you're an author, we know that you activist, we know you do a lot of things. Will you share with us a little bit about some of the things that you do before we start asking questions?
Certainly. Primarily one of my missions or ministries here in the city of Jackson, Mississippi, is to help young people open their own businesses. So I've had like a 30-year ministry of opening businesses and helping young people here know how to manage their businesses, know how to keep them open, and use me as a consulting resource so they won't get in trouble with their businesses and everything will be ran with excellence. And this is one thing that's dear to my heart. Another thing that I do is teach African American history to our children at our Christian education school at New Jerusalem Church, which I'm a member of. And I think that this is ultimately important, that our heritage and lineage is understood by our young people at very early ages, so that they will know their worth, where they come from, and have a dignity about their heritage. Now that is a passion of mine. And those two things, along with being a matriarch of my family and teaching my children directly, grandchildren and great-grandchildren now, how to be citizens that are productive citizens, people who are about helping others and carrying on a character of dignity and decency, so we won't get entangled in some of the things that are the outer forces. So basically, that's what I do. And when I read, the book came about, the Good White Folks Angel book came about, how God sent us angels in the form of good white folk, was a heritage book, which taught or is to teach the lineage in my family and the children in my family, who they came from and what they are about, and the meaningful relationships between whites and blacks in the city of Jackson, Mississippi, during the 50s and 60s, during the height of the civil rights era, and the things that occurred and what happened with my family or our family during those times.
Okay, well, thank you. Listen, I want to make sure that our audience kind of got a flavor of what you do, because we know that you're moms. We know that you're great moms, and which segues us right into the first question. It's very generic, but for men, if you ask a man, what is a man? And if you ask 100 men, what is a man? You will probably get 100 different answers. So I'd like to start our first series of questions off by if each of you, if you will explain in your own words, what is being a mother? Anyone can go first. Dr. Fuqua?
Okay. Being a mother to me, being a mother has brought so much joy to me. You just never know before you have children what joy that children bring to you. So being a mother is caring for your children, being there for them, supporting them. And a mother to me is, and my own mother, I speak to my own mother daily. She lives in Virginia. I live here in South Carolina. So being a mother is a joy. Having a mother, I'm thankful that she's still alive and everything. So I thank God for her guidance. And believe it or not, even though I'm 52 years old, I'm still going to my mother for things. So I want to be what my mother is to me, to my daughter, to my sons. And I mean, that's what being a mother. I don't believe that you have to necessarily birth a child to be their mother. I have an adopted son as well. He's 10 years old. So he's like my own child. That's my child. Can't nobody tell me any different. So I believe that the medical definition of a mother is a female who gives birth to a child. But to me, being a mother is having on any child, guiding them, raising them, assisting with their development.
Great, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Ms. Clem.
Absolutely, I concur 100%. Yes.
Okay, ladies, I appreciate that. I mean, I know that that's a loaded question, and I know that people ask all the time, and there are various varying definitions, and we just kind of want to get that started. Now, primarily, everyone assumes that they know what everybody else should be doing. And, our topic tonight is challenges and celebrations of motherhood. And if you can just share, what has been your happiest moment or moments and your scariest moment regarding your child or your children? We know that we're all met with a lot of challenges.
my.
So, I mean, just one. The show is only an hour long.
Okay,
so
my happiest
just
moment. Okay. Since I have 4 children, grown children, my happiest moments was the birth of my children when they laid them on my chest. I had natural childbirth with my 2 natural children. And as Dr. Fuqua, I have 2 adopted children who are my blood children to me because they are such a joy. And I think that they are special gifts from God because my daughter is my passion. And I love my children. Now, the scariest moment has been when my oldest son was shot. And he was in some indiscretion. And thankfully, God delivered him from that. My most joyful moments, as I've said, was the acquiring of my children, both my birth children and my adopted children. Those were my most passionate, joyful times because I felt so blessed that God had given me these sons, these God's glories, and he entrusted them to me. That to me did something to me because it meant to me that God honored me in the way that I could be a mother to them. And I had to be very careful with my sons because early on, I was married for 14 years and consequently by the 15th year was divorced and was a single mother by divorce. And that was a scary moment for sure. So the thing, that's my most joyful and most scariest.
Thank you. Dr. Fuqua, would you elaborate a little bit, please?
Okay, my most joyful moment was probably when they graduated from middle school. I can remember crying at the graduation. I mean, you know, it's just a joy when they graduate from high school. And when my son went through boot camp in the Navy, that was a really joyful time for me. Other than giving birth, of course, that's one of the great moments in your life when you have a child. But all 3 of my children have brought so much joy to me. I can say that the scariest moment was when I lost a child years ago.
Condolences.
And thank you. My first son was murdered by our babysitter. And so that was the scariest moment in my life. And so after that happened when we were stationed overseas in Gitmo in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And so that was a scary moment for me. That was our firstborn. That was the only child that we had at the time. So that was devastating. And so after our other 2 children came along, it was like very overprotective with them. So it was like anything that if they were sick, that was scary for me. Even though his death didn't have anything to do with the illness, it's just that with even a sickness, my daughter was hospitalized for a week with a bacteria infection, and so that was a scary moment for me. And so thank God, you know, I do thank God for bringing me through that. That it took years and years of healing, and but those, I mean. We have children and God has blessed me with children. And so sometimes you're going to have things happen like that in your life. So that's some of the scariest.
Yeah.
Well, again, let me say, I mean, my condolences and my hat is off to you. You know, that, again, you already know there's nothing anyone can say that makes situations of loss better. But, you know, I just feel like we should have the decency, you know, to at least acknowledge that there is both sympathy and empathy. In any situation that's unpleasant. Yeah. Now, you know, as you share that, as both of you share about your moments, you know, it kind of actually brings us to the third question: is, you know, there are so many unspoken challenges of motherhood? And this may be an unfair question, and just don't answer it if you don't want to, and we can move to the next question. But if you're comfortable,
Okay.
will you cite just maybe one of the many uncomfortable challenges of motherhood? If only if you're comfortable. Yeah, Clem. Clem, go ahead, Clem.
Uncomfortable challenges of motherhood. Yes. I guess trying to actually impart pearls of wisdom to our children and knowing the resistance that they have when you're trying to counsel with them and to keep them in a state of avoiding consequences. And that's very uncomfortable because you can see the distaste in them not wanting to hear what you have to say. You know, they get resistant. And that's very uncomfortable as a mother because you know the dangers and you've lived through so many dangers and you know consequences for things that they may get involved in. And that sort of thing just grieves your spirit, so to speak. You seek counsel from God to understand what is it about this generation and the generations to come that they are so resistant to us giving them wisdom calls. And that, to me, is a frightening state. I stay prayerful about it because you don't want to offend, but you have to be honest with your children and you have to tell them the truth. And the truth is there are so many dangers that we didn't have now that they do. And they have to be godly conscious of those things. Mm-hmm. And when they resist, it kind of puts you in a state of, well, really, Lord have mercy. Okay. you know what I'm talking about? Where you just go into your prayer closet and you just supplicate. You do know that these times are what they're supposed to be biblically, but it's hard to understand still that they're in that spirit of resistance of not wanting to hear what we got to say. What we're saying is to keep it. Actually, I tell mine is to save your soul from hell and jail, because Black males are an endangered species. Black girls now driving down the street getting accosted by different forces, police or whatever. And we have to guide them how to act in those situations. And when we're telling them, it's like, I know what to do. You don't have to keep telling me that. That is what nowadays what's going on with me. I know that's one of the things.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Fuqua, would you like to address that one, or would you like us to move on?
Well, she said a whole lot of things that I have to deal with and still dealing with to some degree. And I can remember walking the floors at night to 2 and 3 in the morning, just praying, because that's all I know to do in certain situations is pray. And so for mother to see her children kind of go down the wrong path, and then they don't listen, it's very challenging sometimes to break through, to even get them to listen. And so I concur with what she said. I don't have anything different to say. I do know that some of the hidden challenges that you have as a mother, as I had as a mother when my children were younger, it was because of what happened to us in my life with my first child, I was so protective, and then I wasn't really given time for myself. I was so focused on doing everything for the family. I wasn't really caring for myself properly. So that was a challenge for me to say, hey, you deserve to have a better life, you know, to be happy, not to be focused on your family all the time. So that was a hidden challenge for me, because you don't want to come out and say, oh, I need to focus on myself. That would appear to be selfish, and I didn't want to appear to be selfish. So that's I was having challenges.
Yeah.
Well, hey, ladies, listen, that's a conversation that we could talk on all night, isn't it? However, you know, we have a very, this question, and as a man, as a son, as a man, I don't want to offend you. It's just a question, okay? But, you know, there are a few conversations relative to mothers rearing sons, and a great number of books and conversations about mothers rearing their daughters. However, there appears to be general consensus. It's just a question, ladies, that women cannot effectively rear sons without a male presence. Now, would you agree with that statement, or would you disagree? And if so, will you expound on that, please?
Well, it is difficult.
Okay.
However, as a mother of 3 sons that I have raised and have nourished to be men.
Okay.
And one of the things that I think mothers have to be conscious of, that these men are going to grow up to be husbands, fathers, they're going to grow up to be citizens, and they need to be nurtured into manhood, and not us pampering them to the point where they are no good for a woman to have as a husband, and they're no good for society because they are into themselves and they're non-productive. Now, in my household, everything that had breath in it had to work. Because if you, my father taught us, and I come from a family of 9 children, and my father taught us that if you did not work, you did not deserve to eat, because that was in the Bible, and it is in there. Okay, and he taught us that slothfulness was a sin, and to be slothful is laziness. Okay, my children had to work in the home. The boys had to wash dishes. They had to cook. They had to clean. They had to wash their own clothes from age 12 on, because as the doctor said, I was not a built-in maid. You had to help out and reduce me from stress, because I was working 24/7. Sometimes I had 3 jobs.
3 jobs.
To maintain after my divorce, yes. And they had to be raised in a setting where they had to be independent to a point where I could trust them at home to be in the house and maintain the house, and also to know the dangers of not letting people in the home and not having people at the home when I was not there, when they were teenagers and so on, you know. So yes, mothers can raise substantial men. However, it's not meant to be, because when a man is not in the home with the children, God's glory is not there, because a man is God's glory. When you take the glory out of the home, you have situations with men, especially males, where they don't have anyone to mimic. And so the mother has to be careful, because you're not a male. I didn't want to project that I was a male image to my male children. However, I did tell them that they were God's glory, that they were a man. God cherished them, and they had to be accountable. You have to work. You have to earn a decent living. You have to be gentle and kind. And you have to, when you get married, put away all things, and your wife comes first, even before me. And that's what mothers don't teach sons. Your wife comes first. And as a man and as God's glory, then what I'm to do is to be a catalyst for you, because I'm not a man. I can't do man things with you. So I had good role models in place for them. My father, my brother-in-law, my pastor. You see, I presented well-established male images for them, and consequently it worked for me. But I also did this. I dedicated each one of my children back to God, because I knew I could not raise them by myself, and there was no way a woman could raise a son without God being first and he having the first place in their lives. And that was a known, and that was from the beginning. So, I mean,
okay,
basically that's how I.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Fuqua, would you like to tread those waters?
Well, I mean, she told her, I mean, it's on point. That's on point. As you know, I can't follow that much, but I can say that I do believe that women can raise sons. However,
Mm-hmm.
I can't teach my son to be a man. His father needs to teach him, or a male role model has to teach him how to be a man. Just like my daughter, her father can't teach her to be a woman. I have to teach her to be a woman.
Right.
And so that, I mean, I do believe that they can do that, but that there's certain influences that both male and female have on their children, and they need to see that, mimic that. Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
ladies. Hey, that's right on point. That's very powerful. And I don't have 2 cents to put in, because we want to hear from the mothers, and you don't want to hear from me. Now, generally speaking, would you say that an overwhelming majority of best parenting practices, this is just a question, ladies, are done by mothers as opposed to by men? The overwhelming practice of parenting. Are mothers much better at it, or are men somewhere in the picture? Dr. Fuqua?
Well, we have to go back to the Bible again.
You know what was coming to my thought? You know what came to my thought? Immediately came to my thought. Remember the presidential candidate that I guess people scrutinized him for. He made a comment because something in regards to his wife taking care of the children.
Yes.
Remember that? And remember that? And he was.
Yes.
I guess he said he was helping, you know, that's immediately what came to my mind. I believe that. What was the question again? I'm sorry. That's okay. For a second.
That is quite all right. The question was really a dangerous question, to be honest. I mean, as a man, it was dangerous for men. But you know, the question was, do you think that mothers are inherently better at rearing children, or are men somewhere there in?
I believe that
Billy, how you doing?
women, they're more nurturing their children, right? Especially in the younger years, when they're absolutely young children. Yes. Oh, hi, Millie.
Yes.
Hey.
Hello.
Okay. Okay. Millie, would you like to tread those waters as well?
Does Millie know that she's on video with us?
I think so.
Well, not. Hi, my name is Millie.
Hi, Millie. Hi. Okay, we are right now. We are in the middle of a show, Millie, and we're talking about mothers. And we were asking a question, and thought maybe you wanted to weigh in on that question. But we will move on to the next one, and then maybe you might want to weigh in on this one while we're waiting on another guest. Now, athletes have become, you know, I love this one, and this one is personal. Having been a star athlete,
okay,
we are always asked, why do guys say hi, mom, and never acknowledge their dads? So, do you think, ladies, that moms have reserved a special place to be acknowledged publicly via TV, via radio, etc., or are the sons being disrespectful to their dads?
I don't believe the sons are being disrespectful to their fathers. I believe I can remember seeing that since I was a little girl. I can remember seeing any kind of sports show. The male would always say hi to their mom. So I think that was the thing to do, and they just follow suit over the years. However, I think that the mom has maybe a more of a emotional connection with the child. Yes. Being that the mom does the more nurturing part aspect, the relationship with the child, and that's the only thing. I think that they just fall into, oh, hi, mom. That's the thing to do.
Okay, Miss Clem.
Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I
okay.
Yes, I can.
As a mother of an athlete, my oldest son played football for Alcorn University. And I remember when he was in Pee Wee football, I was there every game. When he was in middle school or junior high, I was there every game. And in high school, every game. Consequently, the dad was there when he could be.
Okay.
As the encouragement level that the mother gives to the child, in some cases, we are encouragers. And I think they appreciate that their mothers have been this force of encouragement on standing by me. It was one time my son was on the field and this huge child from one school had actually steamrolled him. And he was a big, brawny guy. My oldest son at age 16 was over 6 feet tall and weighed over 200 pounds. And when this child ran over him, I ran on the field almost. They had to stop me. So I think it's the mother.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you because you know what that reminds me of? My mother did the same thing. When my brother was playing high school football, my brother broke his leg in the middle of the game. And my mother, she ran out in the middle on the 50-yard line, all the way on the other side, during the middle of the game to see about him because they had she ran out on the field. And I can remember my father looking at us and saying, "Look at your mother."
Wow.
But yeah, that's funny.
And so yeah, that's why they say, "Hey, mom."
Yeah. Okay.
They know mom is going to come to their defense.
Okay.
Because I snapped, and so the coach was saying, Miss Michael, you can't come on this field like this. And we've got to get him situated, and I'm going, I'm the one to get him situated. I'm the mother, But anyway, the reason I think that they say, "Hey, mom," is just an endearment of respect, as the doctor said. They want to show respect to their mothers, and you being a pro athlete yourself know that that's part of it, that you always want to acknowledge your mother, the one who gave you birth, the one that you appreciate giving you birth. And I think that that's quite appropriate myself. So I think that's
ladies, thank you for that answer. I could not have mothers on this show without asking that question, because as an athlete, as I've already said, we're asked that all the time. Well, I'm an old athlete now, but as a younger athlete, we would ask it all the time. But listen, now we have all read stories. We've all seen documentaries of mothers involved in these just historic creative feats when, let's say, an automobile or something extremely heavy object gets on a child, and you see mothers do their Popeye thing without taking the spinach. Do you think that's and I'm going to ask a religious question, so don't get offended. Do you think that's a special assistance from God, Or do you feel that that's just an innate strength that's already there that goes with the mother's love, where she feel that she must protect her child at all cost? That make sense?
Well, you want to go first since I did the last one first?
The question, you kept going in and out, but I think the question is about where does the mother's strength come from?
Yes.
In maybe emergency situations.
Yes.
I believe that other than God helping them, right? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe that's an inner instinct that the mother has, as maybe the fear of something happening to her child. She's not thinking about the weight of whatever it is that she's got to lift to get off her child. She's just trying to lift something up off her child. I think has a lot to do with the kid. I don't know for sure, but I know like the chemicals in your brain, and if you fear something or are scared, then you just automatically react. It pushes you to react and do what you need to do. Because I read some stories like that, and I read actually a couple of stories today about that, because I said, I've heard of stuff like that. So I went and I looked it up, and I was like, that comes from something inner within.
Okay.
I believe. That's what I believe.
Clem?
Yes. I have had an experience like that. It didn't necessarily have lifting involved, but my oldest son was in the hospital, and his wife called, and the call was, and everybody calls me Mimi, and she says, Mimi, they have coded Calvin, and something just raised up in me, a flow, just heat. And I said, oh no, this is not the day my child is going to die. And fortunately, my youngest son was there, so he drove me to Baptist Hospital. And on the way, the prayer was this: Father God, not your will, not my will, but your will be done. Because you know that this is not the time that I'm able to lose my child, because I was going through a lot of things. And when I got to Baptist Hospital, they were on top of him, and he indeed had coded. I mean, it almost flat line there, and I just put my hands on his feet at the foot of his bed, and I called on the name of Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And his breath came back in him, and they tricked him. Now, that energy I know came from God, because it wasn't in me, but it was the Holy Spirit came and he breathed a breath of life. That's what mothers do. So in doing that, I was able to understand that power. Mothers have a power. They have a special gift from God. Nurturing. That's something that God has uniquely given us, because we have that bond with our children through the lifeline, through the birth line with them. And I think that the power that we get to help our children, to even save our children from danger, comes from God, because we can't do it alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Listen, ladies, wow. There's so much material that you ladies are laying out here. I'm stumbling because there's so much I want to ask you. But can we soften it up a little bit with this question? Let's soften up this question. Now, there's a lot of talk about chivalry and men and women relationships. So you may or may not have daughters that are, quote, at the age of marriage. However, if you did, and even using yourselves, excuse me, If a young man did not present himself in a chivalrous manner, would that be a deal breaker as far as having him for a mate?
No.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh. He's like, yes.
Oh,
If
here
he
we go.
didn't have
Somebody saying no, somebody saying yes.
if he didn't have a chivalry, say that again now.
You know, chivalry, you know, the
Say the question
well,
again.
actually, maybe I can do it better through an example. If he doesn't seem to be respectful, if you
Yes.
say anything, you know, maybe using all kind of profanity, if he doesn't open the door, if he doesn't offer to pay for dinner, if he goes in the door in front of you or her, etc. You know, chivalry. That's, you know, there's so much talk about that now.
No.
And I just like both of you to elaborate on, would that be a deal breaker? I mean, suppose the guy was, you know, maybe he was really kind of a decent guy in other ways, but he just wasn't a chivalrous young man. Would that be a deal breaker?
No,
As far as being in a relationship?
Let me, for me.
Who's going first?
Well, it's unacceptable.
Okay.
Doc, do you want to go first?
No, you can go ahead.
Because now you know I'm old, lady.
Well, you know what?
Old school.
Give me an opportunity to say this respectfully.
My ex-husband.
We want
Okay.
diversity. Be it time period, be it
Okay.
age. We want diversity. So please continue.
Well, you know, I came from the age where men opened the door for you. As a matter of fact, my ex-husband opened the door for me the day we were going to get our divorce.
Okay.
And, you know, he walked around and opened the door. We went to the attorney's office together. It was just something that was a known. He was just a polite, dignified young man, and he was always that. You know, but now I wouldn't want my daughter, because my daughter is a lady. I would not want her to accept a man that did not open the door for her, that did not treat her with courtesy, that did not honor her in his speech and be careful about the way his tone with her, because all of that's a part of character. Now, even nowadays, my sons cater to me on that, opening the door for me when I'm getting in a car, because they were taught to do that. And they're taught to do that for the ladies in the family, and cater to us in a manner of respect in that way, where they don't brush in through a door, they hold the door for us. Mm-hmm. And it would be a deal breaker for me in the generation that I was raised in, because I was raised, my daddy told me this: if a man doesn't take a time to open the door for you, then you shouldn't give him the time not to do it. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about. I mean, that's good advice. That's good.
You know,
that's good. I'm gonna sit and think about that now.
You remember the song? Yeah, you're like a man with a slow hand. I like a man with an easy touch.
Yes.
Okay. That's the era that I was raised in. Not these brutish men who are so self-absorbed until, you know, they're prettier than I am, and so everything matters to them first. As I said, my second husband, Milton Cooper, was an exemplary man when it came to opening the doors for me and catering to me. As a matter of fact, he called me baby. You've heard of that song. So that's the sort of thing a lady embellish, because you, in a man nurturing you, I taught my daughter that when a man nurtures you and he puts you first, and he wants you to be cared for, he wants you to be happy, he wants you to have the things. And the other thing my mother taught me, that if a man can't buy you a pair of stockings, you shouldn't even give him the time of day. Just especially your husband. He's supposed to get your hair done. He's supposed to get your nylons. He's supposed to make sure that you have all the things that you need, and nurturing you. So that, I mean, to me, chivalry is just part of that. And I couldn't go for a gentleman that wouldn't do that, open doors for me and so on. That's just me.
No. That's great, Dr. Fuqua.
That's not a deal breaker. That's not a deal breaker for me. If she, if she liked a young man and he was decent, he's, doing things for himself, degree, going to school, if he has a good job and he's been nice to her, showering her with gifts, things like that. I don't think that would be, that's not to the fullest extent, but I don't see any doors opening or things like that, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I think that maybe things are maybe a little bit different today, in today's time. And if he was disrespecting her, disrespecting her, then that would be a deal breaker, because no, that mama would have to get into the business.
You're right.
But
all right now.
Two
not having nobody disrespect my baby. No beating, none of that kind of stuff, because I have to get
there. You go.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Interesting perspectives. And ladies, this is exactly what we wanted. Listen, as we get ready to close, let's do with this final question. Okay, we're going to ask this final question. Then we're going to talk about how we can contact each and every one of you. Now, what is the one thing that you would prefer your son or your daughter do differently than you did at the same age they are now? Pick one. What would you prefer them do differently than you did when you were their age that they are now? When you were the age that they are now?
Would you like to go first?
Let's see. Well, all my children are 40. Okay. All my children are old folks.
Pick one.
If I could say one thing that I would want them to do different, all of them are not as conscientious about their going to church. Okay, so because going to church was my hobby. From early on, I started teaching Sunday school when I was 17 years old. And I taught Sunday school for 45 years. Wow. And so I guess it's their consciousness of their attending church, and actually their relationship, building a stronger relationship with God. All of them have a relationship with God, but I have two who seem to be totally committed to that. And my oldest son is a minister now. And my youngest son opens the door to church and closes it. My middle son goes, and he's an ordained minister. My daughter had a little something that happened at her church that caused her to not want to attend as much. But God is working her through that. And I'm sure she'll find another place, because she used to go every Sunday. But I'm praying about that. But that's one of the things, because all of them work. They have work ethic. They basically all have their own homes and things of that nature, and they are decent citizens. And I applaud them for that, because they had other things they could have done. But that's the one thing I think that I concentrate and pray on more, that their relationship with God be what God wanted to be with him, because we're closely coming to the time that Jesus is going to return, and I certainly want them to go with me.
Okay.
In that sort of matter, I want them to be there with me.
Okay.
So that's the only thing. I'm sure they'll be there. But, they don't have to do the things that I did because they can get there, without going to church. I do know that, but you see what I'm saying? It's just that one area.
Yes, I do. Hey, listen, whatever you say, and we embrace it and we receive it. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Dr. Fuqua?
Yeah.
I would want my children to, because my daughter's 24, my son's 22, and my youngest is 10, but at the age of 24, I can remember I was getting ready to get married. I got married at age 25. So I would want them to maybe experience like a little bit more before they was to settle down, maybe to go out there and accomplish their goals and get their educational goals completed. Those goals, and it doesn't have to even be educational goals. It could be any goals that they had. And kind of get that out of the way, because that's a challenge to be married and to go to school and take care of the family. And it's very challenging to do that. So that's what I would want them to do that I didn't do.
Okay. Well, ladies, listen.
Yes.
This has certainly been a great journey. And both of you have been more than accommodating. And you have laid out some great answers there about parenting. If you will, Dr. Fuqua, if you go first, please. If you would share with us your contact information and how they can purchase those books and how they can find Dr. Fuqua.
Okay, well, Secure Your Cape is on Amazon. You can go out there and check it out. You can read the beginning portion of the book just to see how you like it. It's a very, very good book and motivational book for women. And my point of contact information is email is drdleadershipcorner@gmail.com. That's I actually have a consulting business on the side from working my full-time job. So please go out there, check my website out. You can just type in Google Dr. D's Leadership Corner. It will come up. And I offer services to organizations. I'm actually a federal contractor as well. So I'm a federal employee and I'm a federal contractor on my consulting business. So that's how you can get a hold of me.
Okay.
Okay. Miss Clem Cooper, if you share with us, please.
Okay, I have a home business, which is my consultant business. I work through J. Everett Hall Publishing. I opened my own publishing company after my publisher did not pay royalties correctly to me. So I can be gotten in touch with Clem_Cooper@yahoo.com. The phone number is 601-668-5651. And that's how you can get in contact with me. So I hope everybody, you can go on Amazon and my book is on there, God Sent Us Angels in the Form of Good White Folk. And it's on Amazon, but I get no royalties for it. So, and that is troubling to me. So that's why I opened my own publishing company where you can order the book through me, through Clem_Cooper@yahoo.com or that phone number 601-668-5651. And I do hope you people will order the book because we're trying to get it in the school systems now where it would be a Black history book.
Wow.
To teach children about Jackson, Mississippi in this, from the 50s on to now.
Can you repeat your number again, please? Because I would like to contact you.
Yeah. Okay. It's 601-668-5651.
Okay. Thank you.
And the book author is C.T.M. Cooper. So if you type that in, you can get look at the book.
Okay.
Or you can type in God Sent Us Angels in the Form of Good White Folk.
Okay, I will check, most definitely check it out. It's a pleasure
It was such a pleasure to meet you. Oh my goodness, you're delightful.
Okay, ladies, listen.
We have to make contact.
You do it. Listen, I'm going to share with you, ladies.
Yes.
I have just finished a book called Mothers and Their Men, an introspective look at mothers rearing their sons. And so you were just interviewed with some of the things that we talked about in this book. And I want to I wanted to validate
that out now. And I saw the video earlier on your YouTube page. I saw it earlier.
I did too.
I was like,
I did too.
I am so happy that you ladies were kind enough to join us. And for individuals that might want to contact me, I have a video cast called the Nobody Asked Me Guy. We debut just every Friday night, 7:00 p.m. And as you can see, we have some of the most interesting guests that are on video any place. I don't care who they are. We have the most interesting guests.
Yeah.
Now you can contact me at www.dyingonmyfeet.com, www.dyingonmyfeet.com. Once you get to that site, you will see all of my social media sites listed right there. So whichever you're comfortable doing, be it LinkedIn or whatever you're comfortable, just click on that and you can find me there. Also, a mobile number is 440-935-0374, 440-935-0374, and an email, abrighterfuture91@gmail.com, abrighterfuture91@gmail.com. Listen, guys, it's been great. These ladies have been fabulous. They've been fantastic. They've talked to us about sons and rearing and knowing how to be moms. I certainly have learned much, and I hope that you have learned more too. So with that, again, we'd like to give a verbal bouquet of roses to all of our moms. We'd also like to share condolences to those of you that will be without your mom on Mother's Day, but we know that they're in your heart, and we know that you are inundated with their love, but we just want to show our sympathy and our empathy and let you understand that although we are blessed to still have our moms with me, we realize that you are blessed even though your moms are asleep. So have a great evening, and we thank you so very much for joining us on the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. Please return. Well, we won't be here Mother's Day, which is next Friday prior to. Well, we will be here. See, I'm lost. But listen, thank you so very much. Join us next Friday, 7:00 p.m. Nobody Asked Me Guy show. Thank you very much.
Happy Mother's Day. Bye.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.